Testing, testing. Hi, thank you for joining. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Happy Sunday. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the tracker for Bitcoin. We'll give it a few minutes before we begin. But for those of you who joined early, thank you for joining. Happy Sunday. Let me know where you're all watching from. Jason, thank you. I appreciate it, my man. Yes, getting to that new milestone. It was a great step getting there. Okay, we got a lot to cover today. We'll give it like 2 minutes before we begin. Alvaro from Spain. We got Star SS, Boston. Used to live in San Diego. Star SS, I believe you were in the financial sector before. I remember. Nick, thank you, from Illinois. That's cool. Where else is everyone from? JMC from Michigan. We got Alvaro from Spain. What time is it in Spain right now? I know over on the East Coast, where Star and Nick are from, Illinois, it's close to 6 o'clock. Welcome everyone. Midnight, Spain. Okay, it's getting dark over there. Carlsbad, yep. All right, so thank you everybody for joining. It's a great day. I mean, July has been a great day. We've been talking a lot about just Bitcoin overall. Bitcoin is, surpassing all-time high right now. It's at 118,000. Not long ago, it was hovering over 119,000. Let's just take a moment to breathe. If you have Bitcoin, great. Even if you don't have Bitcoin, if you're holding on to stocks that are hedging Bitcoin, it's always good as well. Welcome everyone. Put it in the chat where you're all watching from. I'd love to know where you are from. We got Paul joining. Thanks for joining, my man. Fort Myers, what's up? All I see. Thanks for all your content. Hey, well, thank you for supporting. So you don't got to thank me. I got to thank everyone here, where we all can get together, collaborate, and share information. So let's go ahead and get started. But first off, Daniel, thank you for joining. I'd like to just say thank you. It's been a nice journey along the way. Today got to that 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's been many years. Started in 2020, took some time off, and then really got back into YouTube. I felt like I was giving up, but you know what? I decided to get back in. Started, like 6, 7 months back into it, and here we are. So thank you all. Could not have done it without the network, the support from everyone. But we'll go ahead and get started. And any questions, comments you may have, any requests, put it in the chat. I'll be monitoring that. But first off, I got content I'd like to cover, share with you all. But looks like Bitcoin is hovering. I think we might very well break through that 120,000. I mean, it's getting very close here. we're not too far away. It's kind of like you can't even say it's like 2% to get to 120, right? Because now I think it's like 1%, 1.2% or 1.3% to get to 120K. I mean, I was forecasting Bitcoin will get to 120K by July, but this was when Bitcoin was like at a 107, but now we're like just surpassing all these numbers. So put it in the comments where you think Bitcoin is headed in the month of July. Polymarket, 75% say that Bitcoin is going to be breaking through, the 120K, 125K. It can get to like 125. 40% believe that. All right, so let's go through some of the updates. So Bitcoin news today. Bitcoin is on track to hit 200,000. So take a look at this also, like the relative strength, which is what you see in this box. So forecasting, as we get to like Q4, we may get that RSI where it runs up to like 90, 95, similar to that last top off point in the last bull cycle, along with the prior bull cycle. Key thing is we haven't got to that RSI level yet. And Plan B has been talking a lot about that. I think we have that potential for a run up. I think 200K is very well possible. So looks like Nick is commenting 130K July. That sounds very reasonable. We will see how high it goes, but we're not even halfway through July yet, and we're already like close to flirting to that $120,000. So very bullish. Here's an interesting visual I want to share with you all. So this is coming from creative planning, but just look at the performance of Bitcoin. I mean, you have all of these asset classes. You got gold, Bitcoin, you got NASDAQ, QQQ, you have large cap companies, SPY, you have mid cap, small cap, you name it, all types of investments for the last 15 years. So just look at Bitcoin's cumulative return. That's like 3 million% gain. I mean, there's no better investment strategy than Bitcoin. And look at the annualized returns, 143% for the last 15 years. Now, most likely the next 15 years, we won't be getting these 100% gains, but like what Saylor is saying, in the next 20 years, we'll be getting a return rate of like 30%, which is very, very reasonable. So just look at the dominance of Bitcoin. But when you look at when Bitcoin went down, also most of the other investments went down as well. So things are correlated to some degree. All right, Bitcoin therapist, he posts just in 119,000 Bitcoin. Yes, we did reach there, and right now Bitcoin hovering at 118,645. Not too far away. And question is, are we going to break through that 120K by the next couple hours here? So with Bitcoin price going up, I mean, just Bitcoin now even goes beyond Amazon. I mean, Amazon is like one of the biggest Mag 7 companies. You got Google as well. Bitcoin just surpassed Amazon and Google. Now they're like the fifth largest asset in the world. And what other companies ahead of them? Like you got Apple. I mean, half of the world uses Apple iPhones. You got Microsoft and you got Nvidia. Those are the three companies that Bitcoin is behind. It's only a matter of time. Once Bitcoin reaches to like 150K, I think Bitcoin is going to be knocking on the door, to Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, and at one point it's just going to be right behind gold. And until that time comes, Bitcoin is going to be the number one asset class. And what does that all mean, right? I mean, I think things are going to look very good. Bitcoin, Saylor says it's going to like 21 millions in 21 years. That's very bullish. So, all right. So it looks like we got some comments in the chat. So Nick is forecasting 130K. Thank you, Nick, for sharing your perspective. We really appreciate it. And thank you for the comments, Paul, for the content produced. Jarrett, okay, do you like iron over Mara, Riot, Wolf, both short and long term. So, Jared, it really depends on your investment strategy. I mean, from a fundamentals, Iron has a solid core fundamental, but when you look at it, they had a quick run up, like even before Bitcoin price took off, right? Starting with like April onward, Iron was like the top dog in terms of the share price performance, and that's all attributed to their infrastructure for AI, Bitcoin mining. But here's the thing: they sell all of their Bitcoins that's mined. So like when Bitcoin price goes up, who benefits? It's mainly the HODL companies that benefit, and we haven't seen that variable be factored in yet. From a fundamental standpoint, I really do like Iron for what they're doing. Long term, they'll be a big company. From a technicals perspective, because they ran up so much, and because other stocks like Mara, Riot, Wolf, they're still behind in terms of their performance. I really do think that the HODL companies are gonna really take off. So we got learn, teach for life. So definitely learn and teach for life. That's always important for all of us. No matter what skill sets we have, let's continue to do that. From Atlanta, so thank you for joining. We got D-Rag with a question. So a lot of Riot Platforms enthusiasts that of see Riot going up towards $100 per share by April 2026 based on technical analysis and historical pattern. Thoughts? Predict. So D-Rag, you're in for you're in for a good ride because I got all of that mapped out. We'll be going technicals analysis and we will be talking about all this. But everyone, thank you for joining. Happy Sunday. Let's just embrace this moment with Bitcoin price, hovering over 118,000 earlier, 119,000. Are we going to break through 120K today before market open tomorrow? Let me know what you think. But we will continue now. So let's go ahead and continue. So Michael Saylor, he posts, some weeks you don't just hodl. So what did he post last week? He posted that some weeks you just gotta hodl, but now he's going in reverse. What are we going to see tomorrow? I think he's going to be announcing a big hodl purchase. How much do you think Saylor will be announcing tomorrow in terms of hodl? Put it in the chat. All right. So, John Daly, thank you. I really appreciate it, man. You're doing a great job, St. Augustine, Florida. So, this is great. We got people from all over the world. We got Spain, Michigan, Illinois, Boston. We got Atlanta, Florida. Thank you, everyone. Welcome. Really grateful that you're all here. Let's continue. All right. So one interesting thing I want to share with you is that James Nguyen. So I've been covering a lot about James Nguyen. Why? Because he's a big time whale in this space, right? When it comes to investing in Bitcoin and all that. Before he made the incorrect move, he was going like 40x leverage on Bitcoin, and that didn't work out for him as a bull. And then 2 weeks ago he did 40x leverage shorting Bitcoin right before Bitcoin ran up. So think about it. When it comes to 40x leverage, whatever investment you put, let's say if Bitcoin goes up, you get 40x your investment, but if it goes down, you're taking a big risk. So what has happened? I mean, he basically deactivated his account, and right now his account only shows $10,000 when he had $100 million of unrealized gains. So the more of the story is ultimately never short Bitcoin. Yes, you might win to some degree on some instances, but throughout the last 15 years, Bitcoin continues to go up. And what is the story? Well, here I have a post. Greed, human desire for wanting more, can overtake your decision making. So just reflect on that because it's important for all of us as investors to really know what your investment strategy is. And of course, we all got risk tolerance, right? So it's important to know before you invest into something, what's going to be your exit strategy, or is your use case going to change if it hits a certain price based on momentum? And if, let's say, there's more people that like it, are you going to pivot? but really try to understand why you're invested into something and don't let the emotions come into play, because just like with James Wynn, he got taken out. And I think this is all because of greed, right? I think he wanted the validation from people who respect him and look up to him. And I think it was just a matter of having an extra comma added to the amount that he has. I mean, $100 million, that's something we all would love to have, right? But I think he was trying to get that extra comma, getting to the billions. So I think sometimes in life you gotta just be happy with what you got and just not let greed overtake your decision making. All right, so that's a lesson learned. Definitely. I hope he bounces back though, because we don't want anyone to like just fail like that. Yep. Mike George, we should pray for Mr. Wynn. He should have taken 100 million and started making conservative trades. Oh yeah, I mean with the $100 million, I mean you could exit the market by then and just go buy real estate and travel the world by then and just put it in like, I don't know, buy Bitcoin with it, hodl it, and just live that life after. All right. So thank you, Mike. I hope that was good lesson. It's a lesson for me to also learn. No matter how big you are, you're not smarter than retail, and vice versa, right? You might have a retail that's smarter, a whale that's smarter, but just because someone's a whale doesn't mean that they are smarter in terms of investment. We're all human here, and we just saw it with James Wynn, so it's important. All right, so Trend Spider, I wanted to show this lovely visual. How high does MSTR open tomorrow? I mean, look at this puppy. I mean, it ran up, right? Green NOS kicked in right here during November, 550 price point. And then once it started dropping, I remember I started buying at like 380 and it kept dipping, and then bag holding for many months. But, now it's consolidating, and we're seeing this cup and handle formation along with inverse head and shoulder. But look, we're on that right shoulder, the handle formation. Are we going to see that green NOS kick in? I really do think that we're going to have that green NOS kick in very soon here. So just be on the lookout for MSTR. The shorts are going to cover very soon. Put it in the comments if y'all are holding on to strategy or even the 2x leverage, MSTY, MSTU, MSTX. Put it in the comments. When short sellers, when will short sellers start long, or they will not in this cycle. So Raz, it all depends. Shorts can always become bulls. Bulls can always become shorts. That's just the nature of the market. But I think there's going to be a lot of covering right now. I think the shorts are getting more and more fearful because of the mother coin, Bitcoin. It's been going up. Yeah. So Westchester, Charleston, Dixon. Do you see MSTR doing it 10x by January 2026? So 10x, that's a big number, because I mean 10x, I can't even do the math right now. So we're current, that's like $4,000 by in the next $4,000. I don't think a 10x is going to be possible. Yeah, it's definitely unrealistic unless you're going like MSTX, MSTU type of play, but I don't even think that it even has potential for a 10x, even though you go on the 2x leverage. I think, we're looking at something moderate level, $1,000, so 1.5x, 2x potential by 2026 or 2025, transitioning into 2026. So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining. If you haven't already done so, put it in the comments, where you all are watching from. We got people from all over the world right now watching, but just wanted to thank you all. Today was a great milestone, getting to 10,000 subs. It's all done because of everyone's support here. So thank you. All right, so Julius posts MSTR had its highest yearly close on Friday. It looks like MSTR is starting to react to the rapid increase in M2. $480 plus seems very likely next week. As I've been saying for weeks now, I'm bullish. So MSTR price in white, In red, we see, just the global M2 money supply. And for those of you who aren't familiar with what M2 is, it's basically a leading indicator. That's just the amount of money that's available around the world. So all of the big banks around the world, the US, Japan, Asia, EU, all of that money. Key thing is we want to see M2 money supply go up because Bitcoin tends to follow that. And when Bitcoin goes up, strategy will go up even with higher volatility. And one of the things is that it has like a 2 month lag behind M2. So the fact that we see M2 going up, we're expecting to see MSTR follow that trajectory since there's like an 8 week lag time. All right, welcome everyone. Okay, so all right, Raz with the comments. When will miners start moving? We will cover the miners shortly. And Robbie from Singapore joining. Thanks, my man. I really appreciate the comment. Could not have done it without everyone's support here. So, we're all just learning from one another, right? But thank you all for joining. Mike George, I have a limit sell order in to sell 30% of my MSTR holdings. So I believe you commented on that earlier. But hey, just take profits where you can. I know, there's several people in here who are long investors. I think, just have your strategy in place. Like Robbie Rose, he goes based off of, profit taking. So it's never wrong to take profits. And, one thing I learned from a friend, his name is Matt, is, it's better to is miss money is better than losing money. So even if you take profits and then you see, let's say MSTR shoots up, it's okay. Miss profit is better than losing money, right? So as long as you're taking profits, you're in the positive. That's much better than like selling at a loss. All right, so Linji Hua, looking forward to MSTR going up this week. Oh yes, this is looking very bullish. Bitcoin at 118K. I mean, couple weeks, months ago, I mean, Bitcoin was like 75K. Everyone was like all fearful selling Bitcoin. Then it bounced back up. And then it started hovering in the 100K for like over 50 days, and then it bounced back. So this is looking very good. I think where we are right now, with all of the macro updates, you got ETS created last year, IBIT. It's been a monster. It's been generating a lot of revenue for BlackRock. Strategy's been buying up so much Bitcoin. Sailors creating that competitive game theory, bringing more players to the table to buy up Bitcoin. But the difference is that Sailor's been doing it for like 5 years now, and it wasn't until recently where companies have been catching on. In fact, MetaPlanet is well ahead than many of the companies that are buying Bitcoin just recently. So Simon, he's been buying Bitcoin for a year and a half now. So every month that you've been buying earlier than your competitors, you're ahead of the game, and that's why MetaPlanet has been creeping up. You know, climbing up the HODL rank, and we will continue to see MetaPlanet become very dominant as well. We'll be covering the technical analysis of strategy MetaPlanet as well. All right, well, let's continue. We got a lot to cover here. So next up, Chris Millis. I recommend following him. I mean, he's doing really great work out there for like high T strategy forum, and then you also got the MSTR long forum. But he has an interesting take. Strategy currently owns more than double the amount of Bitcoin than all other Bitcoin Treasury companies combined. Put that into perspective. So in orange, 597, 325,000 Bitcoins by MSTR. And look, the other category, 261,000. So MSTR has like more than all the other companies put together. Come tomorrow, how big of a purchase is Saylor going to announce? I mean, he's getting closer to one Nakamoto, 1 million Bitcoin. So he's definitely trying to catch up to, BlackRock right now. But this just shows that Saylor is definitely MSTR is the king of Bitcoin. All right, so let's continue. I got some, for all the Mara investors. I really do think that Mara has, you know, has huge potential. I mean, I've been initiating some calls on Mara. I've been taking profits and all that. It's been doing very well, and I also hold shares of Mara as well. There's been a lot of like hate, uncertainty around Mara, but just based on technicals, there's no way this company's going out of business. With them having over 50,000 Bitcoins, when Bitcoin price goes up, it's going to bounce back. Like, here's an interesting post from Hulk. There have been three major weekly breakouts for Bitcoin over the past 2 years. Each time, Mara followed with a strong move higher. I've highlighted below how Mara reacted during each of those breakout moments. So, what do we see? Late 2023, big run up. What did we see early 2024? Big run up. Then during that election time, 2024, big run up. Since then, major bleed out along with all the tariff talks and all that Q1 of this year. And it even got down to like $9.80 with the relative strength in the extreme oversold situation. But it's been steadily increasing. And here, will history repeat? I firmly believe that it will. $30 is not too far away. I think come tomorrow we're going to start flirting above the $20 range, and Mara's going to do very well in the next coming months. All right, so JG joining. Congratulations on 10K. Well, thank you, my friend. JG, I'm so grateful to have you, man, because you're consistently supporting me, providing all of that perspective, the Tom Lee type of perspective. So really appreciative of everyone here. But you're always here, you're always on point, and you're always giving feedback. So thank you, man. Robbie Rose converted a lot of my iron to Mara when it got within 50 cents of each other. See, Robbie is like the sniper, man. Think about it. Like Iron and Mara, I think during that time, everyone was like so bullish on Iron. Iron went from $5 getting up to like Mara's share price up to like 16, $18. But when you compare both companies at equilibrium, Mara generally is the company that has a higher share price. So, by converting your Iron to Mara, that's basically a steal right there because RSI is overbought on the iron and Mara is, extreme oversold. So that's a great move, Robbie, because I think that there's huge potential for Riot Platforms and they're like number two in terms of HODL. Crypto Calio. So Crypto Cali, if you're not following him, I mean, I'm following him because this guy, one point last bull cycle, he made he 30,000 on a crypto play. He converted 30,000 to $12 million within like a couple of days. I don't think I am able to do that. I wish I can, but that's this guy is magical. I mean, maybe he can read numbers, but he's delivering on the results. But what is he saying? He's saying still just a matter of time before Riot explodes above this channel. Trust the process. So as we zoom in, I mean, this is a long consolidation, a wedge channel. It's been consolidating in this channel for many, many years now. And what he's saying is that buying anything within this channel is basically free money. I mean, he has call options going all the way out to like September of this year up through January 2026. His call price, the strike price, is set at $35. So he is very, very bullish on Riot Platforms because he's saying that it could potentially have a GME GameStop type run. So uh, very bullish. So Linji posts, weird how Mara didn't do better last Friday, hoping for better this coming week. Linji, what do you think about this coming crypto week in Congress? So good question. I mean, we haven't really heard much about I mean, we got news around SEC. I mean, I think it was like right after like the inauguration, we started hearing full-fledged updates, changing the leadership in the SEC. You know, we heard about strategic Bitcoin reserve. We heard from Senator Cynthia Lummis with the, you know, the 2025 Bitcoin Act. All of that's all drafting the plan, but I think now we're going to start hearing more about implementation within the entire sector of the government. So when will the government buy Bitcoin, right? And how is the government going to buy Bitcoin through neutral ways? Are we going to audit, you know, the Fort Knox? We hear a lot about the gold reserve, you know, flipping those gold certificates and converting it to money. So all of that's going to come into play. And this may be where companies like Mara can can really benefit. This is where companies like CleanSpark can really benefit. This is where, you know, Riot can really benefit. Why? Because, you know, the government's gonna want to, you know, they want this, they want this, and what in exchange? What do miners get? They might get a reduction in getting double taxed. You know, when you mine a Bitcoin, you get taxed. When you sell Bitcoin, you get taxed. That's two taxes. That's a little too much, right? Is there going to be energy credits? So there's so many moving parts right now, but just with, you know, executive director Bo Hines interviewing with like Fred Thiel, CEO of Mara, there's so much on the line right now. I'm pretty sure they're working together. They're trying to have something that benefits both the government and these miners. So I hope that answers your question, but thank you, Linji, for that. All right, Nick, do you think strategy would increase shareholder value if they spun off the business intelligence software business? So, Nick, that's a great question. You know, I think the main focus is they went from software to Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin Treasury, like all in on Bitcoin. And I think with the business intelligence software business, the only reason I would see them holding on to that is how they can bridge the gap between their HODL and AI. So we've seen the strategy conference in Florida. They partner with the Google Gemini AI. So I think when it comes to the business intelligence side, before they actually sell that off, they should see how they can maximize to tap into AI. So that's what I see, and I might not know all the ins and outs, but yeah, let me know what everyone thinks about that. I mean, you can't talk Bitcoin without talking about AI, and you can't talk AI without talking about Bitcoin. I think at one point, once you have AI to the level where, you know, they have like humanoids working and all that, they'll get so advanced where they'll get so smart where they will only work in exchange for something. Right now, yes, human models, you know, like requesting AI to do certain tasks and all that, but eventually the advanced AIs that deliver quality results, they may want Bitcoin in exchange. So Angel Garcia, thank you for joining. So we will be covering CleanSpark. No worries, you haven't missed out yet. All right, so Calio, be on the lookout. He has huge amounts of calls for Riot. I mean, he has $35 calls for Riot. He's saying that it's gonna have a big blast off very soon. All right, so Nicholas, he posts, don't think I'd be crazy at all to see CleanSpark hit $50 to $91 this cycle. So he has it drawn out as we get towards Q4. It may very well land into that sweet spot, $50 to $91. May very well happen. Who knows? I mean, sky's the limit. We're seeing altcoins run up. We've seen Ethereum Treasury companies run up like BMNR, SBET. You know, we'll also be talking about that as well in this coverage. But CleanSpark is looking very bullish. I mean, CleanSpark, they're mining a ton of Bitcoin right now. So their hash rate is like at that level where it's going so fast and so furious that they can at one point get to like Mara's levels. Mara has it set to like 75 exahash. Year end, CleanSpark has it to like 57. Yeah, so things are just going to keep ramping up. All right, so here's an interesting post. So Aldrin, he says Bitcoin over 119,000 per Bitcoin. Get ready for GameStop and DJT stock squeeze on Monday morning. 100% squeeze play for DJT also because of earnings week. DJT looking to squeeze over 35 this week on new news regarding Bitcoin. GameStop over 32 this week because of Bitcoin. So very bullish. Can it happen? Only time will tell. We'll see. Doge, he posts about BTBT. So for those of you who don't know what Bit Digital is doing, they're one of the most undervalued players in the market right now, the second largest holder of Ethereum. So what BTBT did was they sold all of their Bitcoin, they converted it to Ethereum, and that was before Ethereum went up to like 3K. So Ethereum has room for growth. I mean, it hasn't even got to its all-time high yet, but I do see that the price of 4,000 is not too far away. Zero debt and a solid financial structure, an AI computing framework with IPO potential. What's your take on this stock and the value behind its ticker? So put it in the comments if any of you are liking BTBT. But I actually bought leaps for BTBT January 2027. I do think BTBT has potential for a nice run up. All right, let's take a look at technicals of Bitcoin. So right now, Bitcoin at 118,467. So let's take a look at this. So what I have drawn out in the two indicators that are on right now is Ichimoku Cloud, and I like RSI. I like using the basic technicals. I'm not like a super expert when it comes to technical analysis, but to me, I find value in the simple indicators. Anytime when I see RSI being oversold or overbought, that gives me indicators as to where the price is headed. But Bitcoin is different. Traditionally you have 30 to 70 RSI, but with crypto, you got to add 15 plus to it. So, 80, you got 70 here. So then you got to have 85 as that extreme oversold. 85, 90 is where that would be oversold, but it's gradually increasing. That's a good thing. It's not like, creating God candles, which is what we don't want. But right now it's hovering up very well, up the chains, and we may very well continue to see it just hovering in this ascending channel. If we follow this trajectory towards end of the year, we may be looking at 180,000 or plus, right? We've been talking about 200K, but I think what's important is just following this ascending channel. I definitely see that upside, 180 plus for the rest of 2025. All right, so MSTR, let's cover some technicals right now. So let's see what the comments are in the chat. So Angel will be covering technicals of CleanSpark as well. So in addition, any questions you have, put it in the chat. We'll definitely cover all of that. But right now, I'm going to jump over to strategy. So what are we seeing? RSI during that first run up top, it peaked out right here, 83 RSI, 84. Oh my goodness. Anytime when you have an RSI that high, no matter how strong you are, it's going to have a correction. And we did see that 550 to 220, and then consolidating up. Level 2, it's in that handle formation now. So what are we expecting to see? Relative strengths in the healthy 60. MACD, we're seeing the histogram formation. I'm forecasting we're gonna land somewhere around that $1,000 by end of the year. And depending on Bitcoin, if it shoots up even further, strategy might have room for going even further beyond the $1,000 range. But I think $1,000 is very well achievable with their fundamentals. And Q2 earnings is going to be July 31st. I really do think that there's going to be huge numbers that are going to be presented, and that's where big time investors, like, hearing about S&P 500 inclusion, the accounting book shows, earnings per share going up, bringing in revenue. People are going to be very attracted, and even with Trump, with his initiative of like having newborns 2024 through 2029 have $1,000 in their S&P account for stock investment. Well, once MSTR is in the S&P 500, once they're included, that means, even babies are indirectly holding on to Bitcoin through strategy. So that's going to be very bullish. All right, so MetaPlanet. So, also bought some shares of MetaPlanet. Why did I do that? Well, even before, where we are now, when I went to the Bitcoin conference, I really liked MetaPlanet, but during that time, I should have bought when it was like at $2, $3, and then it shot up from like $2 all the way up RSI 94. I mean, it got up to like $17, $16, extremely overbought. But since then, it's been consolidating. It's becoming more stabilized with the relative strength, and now it's seated at that equilibrium at 51. Because we're seeing that bearish convergence, I think, because I saw all of that, I thought this would be a good time to get in, because I think now price has stabilized, it's found its support level, and I think it's a matter of time when we're going to have MTPLF. I'm thinking in the next couple weeks, months, we're going to get to that $17 upside for MetaPlanet. So that's my assessment. And Josh Mandel, he's a firm believer of MetaPlanet as well as strategy as well. He has calls on MSTR. He's making bank on that BITX. So he's also like hedging big on MetaPlanet as well. Be on the lookout. I really do see $17 is coming. All right, so Mara. So here's my overall assessment of Mara. Just looking at, that bleed out. We saw it bleed out so much. Relative strength got down to 22. Oversold. Everyone was fearful at that time. But that's buying when there's blood on the streets. Now we're seeing it climb up slowly but surely. We don't want it to pop up, right? Iron popped up very fast, but Mara, it's been, like incognito style going up from 980 to like, $19, 1x already. But the relative strength hasn't shot up significantly yet. Also, couple that with the MACD 12 to 26 day intersection just happened since June 30th, so 2 weeks ago. Now we're going to be off to the races. It's going to be getting back into that 20 zone. I see in the next couple weeks, even July, August, $26 is going to be coming. All right, so then now let's go Riot Platforms. So here's my overall assessment of RIOT. So back in 2021, it ran up from $3 to like $80. RSI extreme overbought 92. And when you just look at the RSI since then, it's been just in the dead zone. It hasn't like peaked with the high RSI. But here's the thing that we want to look out for. So since that bear market, Riot $3, it's establishing this bull flag. So it's been in this wedge channel for many years now, and I really think that once we break out to 1350, then we're just going to be off to the races, because this will be the new like. So if I just draw that intersection point, we get to like 1350. We're gonna head up to like the upside of like $21 on the near term. I really do think that Riot has potential to make a big breakout, as we head into the rest of July, August timeframe. All right, so Bitcoin is at 118,000. We're making, history. I mean, whether you have Bitcoin, you have a little Bitcoin, or you don't have Bitcoin, if you have, stocks that are hedging Bitcoin, congratulations, things are going to look very good. Um, just remain patient, have a strategy, and let's all win together. All right, next up, we got CleanSpark. So CleanSpark, we're looking at the daily chart, bull flag drawn out, many months of consolidation. It's been just getting beat up, right? I mean, since March of 2024. I mean, back then it went from like $3 to $24 in a matter of weeks. That's 800% run up. Since then, it's been just in this long bull flag. But now, all the patient investors, we're seeing it break out of that bull flag. Relative strength is slowly but surely increasing. MACD also. This is a key signal for a nice run up. I really do see that, that potential for $22 in the next couple weeks, months. CleanSpark has a great opportunity for a breakout. And good thing is, relative strength is in that zone. We don't see it overbought, oversold or anything. It's in that right spot where you want it to be. All right, Angel. Yes, you're welcome. Thank you, man. I appreciate you joining as well. And any comments, questions from anyone, put it in the chat. But we will continue. So let's continue now. So that's CleanSpark, and then next up, okay, I want to share with you all seasonality. We talk a lot about this. I think some of you are aware of of the videos I produced before with just seasonality. So with the miners, seasonality is real. This might not apply to like, Mag 7 companies and all that, but when it comes to miners, let's take a look based on the performance of the last 5 years. 2020 bull run, 1,292%. We're looking at Riot, but this is also correlated with other miners like Mara, CleanSpark. So you can just use this as a baseline because they all kind of perform the same, different percentage, but the outcome's the same. 2020 was an outperforming year. What happened the next year, 2021? It had a big change, but it still was performing 35%. But what happened after that? 2022, a big bear year, 85%. All those gains, 1,000%, 100% from those last 2 years got wiped out. 85% drop off. But what happened after that? 2023, it shot up 359%. So underperforming year, outperforming year. And what happened last year? Because 2023 was outperforming year, we had an underperforming year. And what I was saying is that even before we enter 2025, that we will have, the blue be somewhere in between the red and the light purple, which is what we're seeing soon. I mean, it's at 20%, but I think it's going to climb up and then be somewhere, you know, below the light purple or above the light purple. So that's one thing to keep in mind with the miners with seasonality. All right, so BTBT. So I wanted to share BTBT with you all. It's a Ethereum Treasury company right now. They are focused in AI. They pivoted straight from like Bitcoin to Ethereum, and they have like half of what SBET has. But just recently, they had last week. I mean, they had a big run up. I mean, a candle star wick right here. You know, um, just based on the weekly, we see RSI oversold, bearish convergence, and just recently we see that MACD intersection, green formation on the histogram. How high can BTBT go? I mean, we had a pullback, last week, but it'll be interesting to see, whether it's going to go up or down. But let's say if it goes down, opportunity to dollar cost average or take a hedge with BTBT, I think they'll do very well. I bought some leaps 2027, calls for BTBT because I think it has potential for a run up as we scale out. Because you look at like Bitcoin Treasury, you got MetaPlanet, you got Strategy, but now you got Ethereum as well. We've seen what Tom Lee's company had done, right? BMNR. I mean, yes, it's been dropping, but it went from like single digits to $100 within a matter of days. So that just shows the powerhouse in a new treasury being created. Okay, so Ethereum ETF. So we know Ethereum has been taking off along with Bitcoin. You know, ETHE is something I would recommend. I mean, I have some calls on ETHE. It's been doing very well. It's an ETF. It has volatility. When Ethereum goes up, ETHE goes up. And, just with the prior resistance that we've seen it achieve, $33. Current price, $24. So it's not even at its prior resistance yet. So definitely do see there's room for growth. And yeah, just with the whole crypto market right now, it's doing very well. So be on the lookout for this play if you're interested. Also, AMD. So let's shift over to some AI plays I want to share with you all. So, AMD, we saw that dip back in 2022. That was during the bear cycle, right? Stock market. Then what happened after that? Dip number one, climbed up to 131, pulled back, shot up to 228. So, what do we see during the DeepSeek time? I mean, AI stocks and the entire stock market, took a beating, right? Dropped down to 80, took a bounce up to one close to 150. So it's only a matter of time where we're going to get to 225, is my perspective. So be on the lookout for AMD. BBAI, I would also monitor BBAI. It had a nice run up, got in like at around the low fours, took profits as it, shot up. One thing to keep in mind is, the relative strength, got extremely overbought recently. So, of course, we'll see some correction just with that big run up, shooting up very quickly, just from like $4 all the way to $8, 1x within a matter of like weeks. But then now we're seeing RSI cool off a bit. So let's say if it gets to like, I would monitor this, if it gets into the sub fives, like if it high $4, I would like that opportunity to get back into BBAI. But we'll take a look. Long term, I think BBAI is a solid government AI company that's going to be like a double digit. All right, and then here is SOUN, SOUN. So why do I like SOUN? I mean, look at their stock. I mean, one time they ran all the way up to like, like $25. And since March, April, it went all the way down to $6. We're seeing it climb back up. I'm closely monitoring this. I mean, I had some calls. I took profits at 13. Relative strength was getting up there. I really do see potential. Let's say if it pulls back to like 1050, I will buy some calls on that and ride this play out because I definitely do see SOUN having a nice opportunity. So be on the lookout for this. One of the things is Trump did, partner with Hyundai. So Hyundai is going to be manufacturing. There's going to be a plant established. There's going to be manufacturing in the U.S. and SOUN actually works with Hyundai for their car audio software. So that just shows the value. And with Hyundai coming to the U.S. like officially, then that's going to add value for business for SOUN. All right. So here is one. Okay, so SCI at 31 cents. Be on the lookout for SCI as well. They were like at 12 cents, 16 cents, and it shot up to like 35 cents. It took some pullback, but I definitely see SCI breaking out as well. So Bitcoin at 118,000. yeah, it's making history right now. And Bitcoin sees, let's read this. Bitcoin sees record ETF inflows and surpasses 118,000, spurred by a short squeeze, US policy shifts, and increased institutional interest. As Bitcoin gains recognition as a sovereign digital asset, its appeal is boosted among institutions, offering legitimacy as a modern investment. All right, so I did a lot of talking there. I hope you all enjoyed. Um, I'm guessing, but I feel like Bitcoin will get to 125,000 this week. Angel, I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. I think that's very well achievable. I mean, that's a 4%, 4% gain. I think 4 to 5% run up, or even less. Can't do the math, but it's very well possible that that happens. All right, so Bitcoin is making history. It's surpassed 119,000. Can it break to 120K this day today, or is it going to break through next week? What are your thoughts? Um, All right, and let's say for those of you who haven't already done so, you can follow me on X as well. You can find me. All I see is W on X. I'd love to, chat with you there, also on X. So if anyone uses platform, feel free to follow me and message me if you'd like to, talk to me there as well. All right. So any other questions you all have? Thank you, JG. I mean, you're the one that recommended for me to, stop it at 1 hour because that helps. Because once you go over that 1 hour, you feel totally depleted, which I do feel right now, all of that energy. But just wanted to say again, thank you, everyone. Today was a nice milestone, getting over 10,000 subscribers. I usually do a live stream on Sundays. On the weekends, I create videos in the morning. I release them. But Sundays is where I do lives. And take a look at my weekly videos on weekdays, usually during the evening time. But just wanted to thank you all. Could not have done this without all of your support. So appreciate everyone's, kindness and gratefulness coming from everyone. All right. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the live session. Thank you all, wherever you're watching from. Let's have, Bitcoin continue to, reach to new levels, and the stocks that are related to Bitcoin, even AI stocks, let's hope for the best. Next week is going to look very bullish, and the night market is going to be opening in the next couple hours. So hopefully things look very good for this upcoming week. All right, everyone, take care. Bye now.